Welcome to a new deep dive. Today we're plunging into some pretty intense source material excerpts from Chapter 9, Taking Drastic Measures.
And intense feels, well, maybe like an understatement. This chapter, from what we've read, is absolutely packed.
Yeah,
It's a really pivotal section, I think. Reveals critical character choices, escalating tensions between, multiple factions, and some sudden dramatic turns that really raise the stakes.
absolutely. So our mission here is to quickly and thoroughly unpack this section for you. We're going to guide you through the key nuggets, the insights, help you understand what's most important in these pages.
Right.
We'll be looking at Patrick's movements, Jack's personal crisis, and a major risky decision he makes, how communication flow, or maybe doesn't flow across groups like Godmother, the Ghost, Slavic, some incredibly brutal internal politics, surveillance, and counter-surveillance efforts happening in parallel,
Yeah, a lot going on.
and a truly surprising cliffhanger involving the FBI. Let's try and figure out what this chapter means.
Okay, let's unpack this intense chapter, like piece by piece.
So right off the bat, the FBI thread we've seen hinted at before, it really breaks through here, doesn't it?
It does. Patrick, immediately after delivering Vlad and Ivan to Godmother, he's on the phone with her.
Okay.
Yes. And his initial report is crucial. He observes an FBI SUV lurking around about 20 minutes after the pickup, so he's confirming the authorities are right there, possibly tracking.
And Godmother's reaction is interesting. It's described as, well, calm, but her directive is sharp, immediate. See if you can find out who in the FBI is involved. What does that calm but precise command tell us?
Well, it suggests she's not entirely surprised by the attention, maybe. But she needs specifics, right? This isn't just casual surveillance. This is the FBI taking a direct interest, probably following the trail from Vlad and Ivan's disappearance. Her calm could mean she's prepared. Or maybe just accepts that this level of heat was, inevitable.
And Patrick delivers. Later, he reports back to Godmother with names, the agents, Anthony, Martin, and Vern.
Right, and this intelligence immediately changes the calculus. We hear Godmother discussing it with Ray, her enforcer.
Okay.
She states the FBI attention has reached a new level, and it requires immediate preparations. This isn't just background noise anymore. Law enforcement is actively closing in.
Yeah.
And Godmother clearly sees it as a significant escalation, demanding a strategic response.
Okay, so shifting gears dramatically now, a major focus of this section is Jack.
Oh, definitely.
The source describes him for 2 days after the main events as almost catatonic, barely moving, eating, drinking very little.
Yeah, he's completely shut down, just grappling with the aftermath of everything. But then on the third day, there's a shift, a distinct one.
What happened?
It's called a quiet realization. He finally feels the full weight of, all the threats and danger bearing down on him.
And his internal monologue at this point is pretty revealing, isn't it?
Extremely. Everything's going to hell because of a guy who deserved to die. One last ride before it all comes crashing down. It's pure despair, right? A kind of nihilistic urge towards self-destruction. What does that reaction tell us about Jack's state?
It shows he's hit rock bottom, I think. He feels responsible, trapped, sees no way out other than just ending it all, maybe literally, maybe figuratively.
Yeah.
It's that classic point where a character feels like they have nothing left to lose.
And this desperation, it fuels a quick, decisive shift. He cleans himself up, shaves, showers, gets dressed, and just drives off. Presumably on this one last ride.
And Patrick is right behind him, isn't he? Tailing him from a distance.
Yep. Keeping a close watch, acting on orders perhaps.
Yeah.
Or maybe just his own instincts about Jack's state.
So where does Jack go on this desperate drive?
He travels for hours, pulls into a small casino, and heads straight for high-stakes poker.
The casino. Okay.
Yeah, the location feels significant, doesn't it? A place where chance and risk dictate everything, mirroring his internal chaos.
It really seems like he's literally planning to gamble his life away. And that's exactly when Patrick steps in.
Right. He approaches Jack from behind right at the table and whispers this loaded warning. You really want to gamble away everything, knowing what's at stake. Why does Patrick choose this moment, this approach?
Well, it feels like a very calculated intervention, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's confronting Jack at his absolute lowest, in a place that symbolizes reckless self-destruction. The whispered warning, it's private. It acknowledges Jack's state, but also reminds him of the bigger consequences. Patrick isn't there to judge. Seems like he's there to offer another path right when Jack's about to throw it all away.
Jack's initial reaction is defensive, right? You might want to leave. It's not safe around me. Trying to push him away.
Yeah, but then comes that moment of startled recognition. You. You're here.
Okay, so he knows him.
That recognition confirms Patrick is more than just some random contact. He's tied to the events that led Jack to this casino. And Patrick uses that. He lays out a clear choice. You have a choice, Jack. You can throw your life away at this table, or call me.
And gives him a business card. Simple, just a phone number.
Just a number. And then he hits him with the ultimate incentive, something Jack desperately needs. Take option 2, and you might see your mother again. Maybe get some answers.
Wow, that's the hook.
That promise is the bait. Jack just can't ignore. His skepticism is natural, of course. Why would I trust you?
Yeah, I'd ask that too.
But Patrick's response cuts right through it. Because I'm the only one offering you a way out. And the source notes this timely distraction, cheers from another table, draws Jack's attention for just a second.
And when Jack looks back,
Patrick's gone. Vanished unnoticed. It's a bit theatrical, leaves Jack alone again. But now with this tangible offer, this seed of hope.
but Patrick doesn't actually go far. Jack comes out of the casino a few minutes later, and Patrick's just waiting outside.
Right there.
Jack's frustrated, maybe confused, and asks him straight up, "Why are you doing this?"
And Patrick's answer is just plain. Cuts right to the core motivation, reinforcing that promise from inside. Your mother sent me.
Okay, that's big.
Huge. And with that, he just starts walking away, leaving the decision entirely up to Jack now.
And Jack, he's conflicted, right? Between the despair, the suspicion, and the pull of that promise about his mother. He decides to follow in his car.
He does. But despite trying, he quickly loses sight of Patrick in the streets.
Which kind of emphasizes the leap of faith Jack's being asked to take here, doesn't it?
Totally. He doesn't understand. He doesn't control the situation. He's just following this one thread connected to his deepest desire.
Okay, so while Jack is wrestling with this, we cut away and we see trouble brewing on the other side of the conflict.
Yeah, the source introduces this dark-skinned man with tattoos. Seems like a lieutenant in the opposing organization. He gets a message. Ivan and Vlad miss check-ins for 2 days. This failure gets flagged upwards immediately.
And this lieutenant calls the ghost directly, bypassing other channels.
Directly.
Yeah.
Which seems significant.
And the ghost response is just chillingly cold, unforgiving. Not my problem. Your mission failed. Zero tolerance for failure there.
None at all. And his order is stark, simple. Increase the pressure.
What does that order tell us about this organization? How they react?
It tells us everything, really.
Yeah.
Their response to setbacks isn't about finding out what happened. It's about immediate escalation, applying more force.
Yeah.
Failure is met with punishment and increased aggression, not, investigation.
Right. Which brings us directly into the internal power dynamics within the Ghost's organization, which are clearly volatile.
Very. The ghost is in a meeting with other powerful figures.
And he confronts Slavik directly about Ivan and Vlad failing, explicitly mentioning the lieutenant came to him.
Yes, the exchange is sharp, a clear challenge to Slavik's authority. You told me Ivan and Vlad were the best? Fix it, quickly. You can just feel the tension in that room.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Slavik nods, accepts the order, but the power play is obvious. And as Slavik leaves the meeting, the source notes the heavy security. He counts nearly 40 armed men guarding the compound.
40. What does that level of security around the ghost and these figures suggest?
It just screams paranoia, right? And maybe vulnerability, despite all their power. They're surrounded by threats, internal, external, relying on overwhelming force for protection. It highlights how unstable their authority really is.
And immediately after leaving this meeting, Slavik makes a furious call.
To the dark-skinned man, his lieutenant, he is enraged that the guy went over his head to the ghost, making him look weak in front of the top boss.
The internal politics.
Exactly. He brutally asserts his authority, makes the chain of command crystal clear. Don't ever go over my head again. You report only to me, tells the man to wait for his orders.
This isn't just a reprimand, is it? It's a visceral reaction.
Totally. It's about being undermined, demonstrating how fiercely hierarchy and perceived loyalty are enforced in Slavik's world.
Okay, back to Jack. Later that same night, the source puts him back in his room, contemplating. Nearly empty brandy bottle, and beside it, Patrick's business card. Untouched.
It's that moment of decision just hanging there in the air.
Yeah.
After the drive to the casino, Patrick's offer. He's still weighing it up.
But finally...
Finally, he takes a deep breath and dials the number.
And Patrick answers immediately, clearly expecting the call.
Seems like it. Jack's opening is blunt, almost self-deprecating, acknowledging the danger he brings. Just so you know, dealing with me is hazardous to your health.
Huh. And Patrick's response, confident.
Confident, almost amused maybe. No pleasantries, huh? Don't worry, everything will become clear soon. Jack asks how it would even work, this sudden potential escape plan.
Yeah, how is it supposed to function?
But Patrick's reply is simple, definitive. I'll pick you up, and the journey begins. They quickly agree on the timing, within 24 hours, specified precisely as 7 p.m.
And Jack? He makes the leap. He agrees. All right, let's do it. I need answers.
Yeah. After hitting rock bottom, this is the moment he chooses, I guess, the vulnerability and trust over self-destruction, driven by that desperate need for connection and truth about his mother. It feels like a huge character turning point.
Definitely. And immediately after hanging up with Jack, Patrick calls Godmother. Shows that tight coordination.
Right. Godmother's anticipating good news. She even guesses he called because Jack was about to gamble away his life savings.
That anticipation from Godmother, it suggests she understands Jack's state, maybe Patrick's methods, or maybe she even predicted this scenario.
Could be. They confirm the plan. I'm picking him up at 7 p.m., and Godmother gives Patrick a critical heads-up for the extraction. Prepare for a hostile environment. She knows this won't be a walk in the park. Patrick acknowledges it, and Godmother confirms a plane will be ready. Logistics are set. And this is also where Patrick reports back those specific FBI agent names he found, Anthony Martin and Vern.
Tying this pickup directly to that escalating law enforcement pressure Godmother discussed with Ray earlier.
It's all connected.
Meanwhile, Slavic is also taking drastic measures, showing the brutal consequences of failure in his crew. Noon the next day, he arrives at one of his bases, a restaurant bar with security, goes upstairs to meet Alexander.
Right. And Slavic confronts Alexander about Vlad's failure. Alexander tries to explain, saying Ivan told him to report to him first.
Ooh, trying to follow a different chain of command, maybe linked to that fraction Slavic mentioned.
Seems like it. And in just a horrifying display of internal control, Slavic brutally stabs and kills Alexander. Right there.
Wow. The stated reason, the lesson, is stark. My teams report to me, they don't talk to someone else.
Yeah. This isn't just about punishing failure. It's a public, violent reassertion of the reporting structure he felt was challenged when his lieutenant went to the Ghost. What does this act tell us about Slavic's leadership style?
It tells us fear is his main tool, right, for enforcing loyalty, hierarchy. Killing Alexander like that sends an undeniable message to everyone present, especially Sergej, who arrives right after.
Ensures that rule he laid down report only to him will be followed. Or else.
He then explains the situation to Sergej, notes Vlad and Ivan were Sergej's men, mentions this fraction dissent or a splinter group within the organization, and his order to Sergej is direct. Bring Jack to me.
And Sergej, loyal to his fallen comrades, immediately asks about killing Jack for their deaths. Shouldn't we kill him for killing my comrades? Makes sense from his perspective.
But Slavic's reply is just cold, detached, purely pragmatic, cuts right through Sergej's desire for revenge. Business, Sergej. Business. What does that reveal about Slavic's motivation regarding Jack?
It highlights that Jack isn't just a target for payback in Slavic's eyes. Not right now, anyway. He sees Jack as an asset, maybe. A potential lever in the bigger power struggle. Or perhaps against Godmother's side.
Interesting.
In contrast sharply with Sergej's motivation, reveals different priorities even among Slavic's loyalists. It's strategic, not emotional. That's the directive.
So, with orders received, Sergej is now on the move, leaves with 2 men, dark blue, luxurious SUV.
But they are not moving unseen. Claudia and Freely are watching from a silver sedan about 100 yards away.
Ah, the surveillance team.
Yep. Freely immediately IDs Sergej as the man Ivan and Vlad reported to, confirming his importance.
Claudia wants to follow, but Freely is hesitant, pragmatic about the risks.
Yeah, why bother? We can guess where they're going, he says, suggesting they just let them go. Only if you want things to get messy doesn't mean we can't let them do their things. Shows a difference in their approach or priorities, maybe.
But Claudia insists, cites Godmother's bigger plan, the need for control, but also stresses caution.
Right. Her insistence overrides Freely's hesitation, suggesting Godmother's strategy requires them to keep tabs on Sergej. So, Freely relents, starts the car, tails the SUV at a safe distance.
And while tailing Sergej, Claudia calls Patrick, kicking off that real-time coordination.
Crucial call. She warns him, Sergej and his team might be coming your way. Estimates arrival by midnight, or possibly just in a few hours if they use a helicopter.
Helicopter. That indicates potential for rapid movement, a serious threat to the pickup plan.
Definitely. Patrick understands that, asks to be notified specifically if they take to the skies. This exchange just highlights the tight timing, the precision needed for Jack's extraction.
So later that evening, minutes before 7 p.m., the pickup time, Patrick is packed, waiting near Jack's apartment. Knowing the clock is ticking, danger's close.
Right on schedule. Claudia calls him again, a second time. Confirms Serge's team is definitively in town.
Okay, they're close. Patrick confirms he's still in place, doesn't want to spook Jack by changing the plan last minute.
And Claudia kind of teases him about sticking to the plan, him having issues changing information. But she reinforces his details, gives crucial tactical advice for leaving. When you head out, drive south. They're not on to you yet.
Useful intel.
Very. She also has a task, but conditional on safety. And take down the surveillance in Jack's apartment, only if it's safe.
Okay. And the call ends with a brief, warm sign-off.
Yeah, Claudia's saying, I love you too, Patrick's simple thanks. And the source notes Patrick's marks. Just a small human moment amid all that intense pressure. A reminder of the personal stakes.
Right. Moments later, Jack approaches Patrick's waiting car. He's made his final decision.
The moment of truth. There is a brief, almost mundane exchange. Jack mentions he might have left his laptop.
Ah, really? Now?
Patrick just dismisses it. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately speeds off. The focus is pure mission, no time for anything else.
And they make it. They successfully reach the airstrip within hours.
They do. Testament to Patrick's planning, execution. Godmother's waiting jet is ready. Immediate departure. They board. Plane takes off. Jack is successfully extracted. He's now under Godmother's protection and control.
But the chapter delivers one final, stunning development. Shifts the focus completely. Around 2 in the morning, Agent Martin, one of the FBI agents Patrick ID'd, asleep in his hotel room.
And Ray, Godmother's enforcer, demonstrates just chilling efficiency. Silently enters the room, captures the agent. Ray's whisper is a stark ultimatum. Don't scream, you'll get a chance to talk.
Jeez. Okay. Ray leads the agent to the dimly lit kitchen. Martin's eyes adjust. Sees a shadowy figure.
His fearful recognition is clear. He states the name. Godmother.
And Godmother's response, delivered in a chilling, distorted voice, is the perfect, terrifying cliffhanger.
I hear you've been looking for me. What does that final scene tell us about Godmother's strategy, the level of conflict we're facing now?
Wow. Okay. That ending changes everything. This chapter really did throw a lot at us, didn't it?
It really did.
We saw Jack hit rock bottom, make that desperate high-stakes choice, landing him right in Godmother's hands. That's a massive shift for him.
Huge. And we also witnessed the brutal internal politics, the unforgiving nature of the other side, the Kosten Slavic. Alexander's murder wasn't just a plot point. It was a calculated public show of Slavic's ruthless control driven by being challenged.
And running in parallel, this complex dance of surveillance and coordination, Patrick tracking Jack, Claudia and freely tracking Serge, Claudia warning Patrick, all happening in real time, underscores the multi-front nature of this whole thing.
It all led to Jack's dramatic, successful escape on that jet, moving him into a totally new sphere. But yeah, the chapter didn't stop there. It ended with Godmother directly engaging law enforcement by grabbing Agent Martin.
This isn't passive observation anymore, is it? This is active confrontation with the feds.
Exactly. It shows how all these different pieces of Patrick's intel, the comms between factions, the surveillance, the brutal internal stuff, they all piece together to paint this clear picture of a rapidly escalating situation on multiple fronts, where the players are taking increasingly, drastic measures.
Definitely living up to the chapter title.
So here's maybe a provocative thought for you to consider, based on this chapter's explosive conclusion. With Jack now potentially under Godmother's control as an asset upon, who knows, Serge explicitly ordered by Slavic to bring him back for business or revenge, and Agent Martin captured by Ray for Godmother. How does this incredible entanglement of major players, conflicting objectives, how does it fundamentally change the game? And what even more drastic measures might be taken by all sides in response?
A lot to think about there. Something to definitely mull over until next time.